don't know. Is this
Is it
on?
on?
Are we on?
I think it's on.
So, okay. We're talking about labeling ourselves comedians. Because like what I do is objectively comedy, right? I don't actually think we should shoot all men into the sun. This is hyperbole for the sake of catharsis, not that men would recognize that, having been completely denied access to their emotions their entire lives. But that's what it's about, is catharsis and, you know, releasing the tension. So this is like my cover, basically, is I don't want to get, you know, I don't want to be accountable to the terrible things I say we should do to men.
So that's why you just call yourself a comic. I mean, I've been paid to do stand-up, so I can officially say that. But the personal thing is, you can call yourself whatever the hell you want to, but as long as you call yourself a comic, it doesn't matter what you say.
I am officially, as of this moment, officially a comedian.
All
It's
right.
official. This is my debut stream as not a comedian as a secondary sense, but as a primary sense.
Wow.
I've always been a comedian. I've always been funny. I've always tried to be funny. I've always failed. But now I'm going to stop failing. It's official.
Oh, no. Failure has nothing to do with whether or not you're a comedian. There are plenty of comedians that fail on a regular and get paid. So
I need to figure that out.
Is it just intent-based?
It's intent-based. I mean, the way that I've always thought about it is, if you've gotten on a stage and attempted to make people laugh, then you can officially call yourself a comedian.
All right.
And I consider this a form of a stage.
Yeah.
So, yes.
I mean, it's as much of a stage as any comedian has right now, right? Like, we're all doing this. It's the great levelers. None of us can go anywhere.
Yeah, it's like I've spent my whole life trying to be funny on the internet, and I failed every single second. And now all of a sudden, everyone's trying to be funny on the internet. And my space is I'm being encroached upon. I've been here the whole time. And now you've got famous people doing OnlyFans. You got famous people on Zoom, on YouTube. It's ridiculous. I can't stand it. I won't stand it. That's why I'm sitting down.
All right. I too sit, but it's like more of a throne situation.
That's true.
Yeah.
I did have a comedian friend tell me that, because I tried to get him to do a benefit for my shoulder, and his response was he can't do stand-up online.
What?
That's what he said.
Because like you need the audience feedback.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that makes sense, right? Like performing to like just a screen is really weird, and I don't know how to do it without seeming like a total psychopath. Like I've tried to do the like rant directly into the camera about my feelings about the government thing, and it's just like I feel like I'm crazy. So I don't really hold that against like a comedian for whom so much is about like sensing the audience's energy, you know?
It's a lot easier if you're just like a dry comic like myself.
Right.
Like, it's part of the style to not be funny.
Right.
And as a result, you don't really need the feedback. And if anything, the feedback interrupts. If anything, the feedback makes it harder to get your point across. Why are you laughing at me? I didn't say anything funny. Why do you think that's funny? I was just telling a story of my day. That's not funny. You think I'm funny? Are you laughing at me or with me? Why are you... Anyway.
You know, I think to some extent, right, like we're all doing comedy as a coping strategy, right? Because being a woman sucks. Being marginalized sucks. I know this is a really hot take, right? And I think that there is a really common experience among marginalized groups of sort of developing this kind of gallows humor as like a survival strategy, right? Because like if I can't laugh at how shitty things are, I'm going to kill myself.
Or other people.
Or other people, right? But like I'm going to like, this is like a vent that I need, you know? And I feel like some of the funniest moments I have been like specifically responding to men's DMs. Like specifically, like just, I get DMs that are ridiculous and like, blow my mind that somebody would even send this to me. And it's like the perfect setup, right? Because like you have this like absurdity softball and then you have the opportunity to just whack it out of the park and like make something really funny out of it. So like, for example, as recently as, you know, today, currently having this conversation, I wanted to share our first super exciting picture. So right here, we have, it's pretty small. I'm gonna just read it. This person sent me a message that said, hey. I responded with, hey there, you know. I try to interact with people who send me messages and interact with fans. Also, sorry, Andrea, you're like very away.
I've been canceled. It's happened. Now you're
myself,
canceled.
which is
We
better. No,
switched
it's
the
fine.
cancellation.
I can keep all my faces to myself. So immediately out the gate, this person sends me the message, years of age and are you single, with like an interrobang at the end. Like, not like addressing me as like a person even, not how old are you, just like, can I fuck it? Is it legal?
Yeah, it's
for me
like
to put my
asking
dick
your
in there?
statistics. You know?
Yeah,
it's
right.
Like if someone were like at a deli counter and are like asking about like the nutritional facts of that like log of cheese. Like, it's like, what?
Well,
Y'all
my whole thing is, you know what? Lead at least with a compliment before you go straight into give me your stats.
Right.
You know, hey, I caught you online. I really liked your show. I'd really like to get to know you. I mean, something.
Right. Like, show that you have any interest in me as a person, right? And so, of course, I respond to that exactly as warmly as one might expect, which is no and no, but you can pay me to pay attention to you. My time starts at $30 per 20 minutes up to an hour, which, to be clear, is my actual rate. If you would like me to pay attention to you and talk to you about politics and pretend I think your opinions are good, DM me and I will totally do that.
Wait,
for money.
Do I have to pay, or is this a freebie?
Well, no, we work together. I consider
y'all.
Rachel,
Rachel, question. So you will talk to them and pretend that they're interesting? I would think that would be extra. I mean,
it's $90 an hour. Like, I'll pretend somebody's interesting for $90 an hour. I can do that.
Yeah, that'd be no. See, I think you should make the fawning. Like, you should have a list of things that are extra.
That's fair.
That's just like for your time.
I will say, like, it does graduate, right? So, like, just talking to a person and pretending I care about their opinions at all is $90 an hour. It does go up from there. Like, if you want fawning does cost more. That goes into girlfriend behavior territory. And if what you want is a girlfriend, you pay me $150 an hour to talk to you. Like, it goes up very quickly. And trust me when I say most men are never going to be able to afford touching me. But that's fine, because I will sell my time and my body at whatever rates I deem acceptable, right? Anyway, carrying on. Speaking of selling my body.
Canceled again?
Yes. Speaking of selling my body, the super fun follow-up there was, so would you like to see the worm from down below? Which I, of course, correctly assumed was, his dick. And the answer to that...
Who's the worm from down... That sounds like a horror fucking novel.
I know.
Like, the worm from down below, written in 1967. Like, what the fuck?
Well, and it's written like a threat.
First of all, if it's a worm, I don't want to see it.
Right.
I do.
If you got a python, possibly. Worm? No.
Yeah, I think that there's like a cost benefit like ratio here, right? Like, if a person is willing to pay me or whatever, I will do something. But if there's like an intrigue in its own right that can pay me less, like, there's like, am I independently interested in this? And if not, how much money will it cost to like create equivalent interest, right? Worm, nah. Anaconda, yeah, I mean, I want to see it. If you have a huge dick, I probably am curious to see it, but only if you ask me if I want to see it first. If you just send me a dick pic, I will mock you on the internet.
I don't mind. Personally, I don't mind. Like, if someone wants to send me that information with all the risks involved, I don't really mind. Like, I'm not going to, like, dedicate my time to engaging with them. I'll be straight up. Like, I'll look at it for about, 1.5 seconds and then close the image. But it's like, whatever. I don't care. It sounds fun.
Well, I actually, on another computer, I have an entire file folder full of dick pics that were sent to me when I was single.
Hell yes.
The two best... I broke up with this guy. We slept together once, and I broke up with him. Because he was a Republican who, after we slept together, gave me pamphlets to pass out.
Wow.
No.
I'm impressed. Like, you always got to be on the grind, right? Like, if you are trying to make it in politics, you got to hustle. You got to hustle every waking second. Like, even when you're fucking, I guess.
But the best part about that was I broke up with him via text. And in response, he sent me a picture of his Johnson with the Mr. Potato Head stuff on it. Like the eyes and the feet. And that's like...
That's so cringe that it like goes below and then comes out the top, and like that's how epic that is. Like that's like a whole new territory right there.
Right.
Yeah,
That's amazing.
And then the next one, I have a bunch of them from someone that I used to do a podcast with. And it was what I thought was a joke on air.
Right.
It turned into this bizarre him sending me pictures of his dick next to candy bars.
Amazing.
But the sad part about it was he was never bigger than any of the candy bars.
Now, were there Quest bars involved?
No. There was a Snickers and a Mars bar, I believe. Yeah. But if you're okay, this is just
like for scale? Like why?
Yeah. But he was always smaller. So
there's a Mars bar? Oh my god, no! Yeah. Oh no! See, I never want an unsolicited dick pic, but when somebody refuses to send one, there's always this part of me that's like, are you embarrassed?
I just want to say here, I am not a size queen. Not all women are size queens. I will, if you have a 3-inch penis, I am more than willing to look at it for 1.5 seconds. I am not discriminatory. # not all men.
Yeah, of course. Not all men.
God damn, you sexy. I love it.
So this is one. This is my this is like a really common just interaction I have. Just, you know, telling me apropos of nothing that I'm sexy, which I already know. I don't need you to tell me I'm sexy. I can tell. Like, I have eyes. I'm attracted to women.
In my bio. I'm extremely attractive. And then I get people on the inverse. They're like, you're not attractive. You're ugly. And it's like,
you're just like, check the
but I got you to look at me, didn't I?
Exactly.
So, okay. So Rachel, since you do this, I have a question that just popped into my head.
Mm-hmm.
During a really rough time, I was living off of a GoFundMe, like really struggling when my last husband ran away.
Right.
I had a comedian friend who sent me $350 to help me out because I was trying to like get all my stuff put in storage before I got evicted and moved.
Right. Okay.
So he did that. And we used to talk on the phone all the time. We've never met, but we've talked on the phone for like 10 years.
Right.
So I really consider him a friend.
Right, like a real friend.
Right. And again, he sent me $350. You know, I thanked him profusely. And then, and we always kind of flirted, but not in my head, not really.
Right.
So right after this, he started talking about sending me a dick pic. And I said, please don't. Like, you know, my husband just ran away from home. I'm not in a headset or a mindset to like deal with stupid. And I thought he was kidding. And then he sent me one. And so I unfriended him.
After you had already said no.
Yeah. And so then I unfriended him, but I didn't say anything about it. I just like quietly unfriended him. And then when he realized, he came at me in DM and said, hey, did you unfriend me? And I said, yeah. And he's like, why? And so I told him, and he said, well, I sent you $350. Wasn't that enough?
Oh my God.
Yeah. There's this sort of like assumption, I think, from a lot of men that we're all for sale, that like sex is something you can just buy from anybody. And to be fair, I mean, yeah, you can buy sex for me, but it's not $350. Like, it's a higher number.
No.
Yeah, right. And I think that's what I'm saying, though, is this sort of weird entitlement that men have, right? To, you know, conquest, to ownership of women's bodies, to abilities to use them, right? Because that dude didn't want to have sex with you. He wanted to get off inside you, and there's a difference. You know, he wanted to masturbate with your body as like a sock puppet. And it's not the same thing, right?
No, and I get, guys, this is another thing that I've been having this happen to me since I was in high school. Guys calling and jacking off on the phone with me.
Ew.
Oh my God.
My cousin's husband.
Ew.
My first cousin's husband did this to me.
To you.
To me.
Well, I'm married to your cousin.
Is it like one of those things where like
my cousin.
They're like doing that, right? And then like you don't like they're not explicit, but you just kind of hear noises during
what happened. And I said, am I hearing what I think I'm hearing? Right. And he said, count me down. And I hung up on him.
Oh, What does that even mean? What?
Ew.
What's even worse about this, I didn't tell my cousin right away because I didn't know what to do with it.
Right.
That's
because
bizarre.
they put you in this horrible position where you have to decide if you want to blow up your cousin's life.
Right. So
and
cut to a few years later, I'm
Right.
talking to her and we're not on the best terms as it was.
Right.
And she's telling me that she feels bad because she was having an emotional affair with this guy at her kid's daycare. So I was like, you know what? You probably shouldn't be. Let me tell you something.
Oh my God.
Right.
And you know that didn't work. I haven't spoken to her since. She stopped talking to me.
Because you didn't tell her immediately, or?
Uh-huh.
Yeah. I mean, I get it, right? Like, what do you do in that situation? I think these men rely on women not wanting to like blow up their loved ones' lives. Yeah. Right. Because it's like, we know we're just as likely to get blamed for it anyway. So it's like, what do we get out of this? You know, like how can we ever? Yeah. Right. Exactly.
I don't want a good show with somebody who's sleeping with my cousin.
I know it's weird. It's weird, but still, I don't know.
It's a sense of ownership, right? And I think that they're relying on your like hesitance to blow up your family's life to trust that you're gonna like not tell on them, right? And I'm thinking, you know, I have a friend recently whose husband just beat the shit out of them and put them in the hospital. And then the same husband, yeah, it's really ugly and it's unfortunately really common, right? Like this is just a thing that happens. Domestic violence is real. And the husband literally was saying to my friend, like, yeah, sure, like I put you in the hospital, but you are a tattletale. And it's like, are you serious right now? Like, just the logic of these people is so many like layers of just, I mean, rationalization, you know, and it's
like tattletale is like if this person like steals like money from the till at work, and that would be a tattletale, right? Not, oh, I'm gonna beat the shit out of you, and if you say anything, then you're a snitch. It's like, what?
I mean, yeah, absolutely.
Well, I think a lot of it too is that we as women have been taught not to rock the boat. Don't cause problems. Did he hurt you? I still remember, and this has nothing to do with DMs, but with my first husband, we got into a physical altercation. And he took a swing at me. He didn't hit me, but he took a swing at me. And when I told my family,
or like, did you dodge?
He was drunk and I was sober, and I was always faster than him. So
but the intent was clearly there.
Right. And so when I told my parents and other older adults that I trusted, because I think I was 22, they said, well, he didn't hit you.
Yeah, like, okay, I moved, therefore it doesn't count.
Yeah.
Like, no, he tried to hit me. Like,
yeah. But that's what they said. He for the most part, he treats you well. He takes care of you. He didn't actually hit you. So
not for lack of effort. Like,
yeah. So, and don't get me wrong, this continued to happen. But again, he always would do it when he was drunk and I was less drunk and I'm faster than him. So I kicked his ass more than once before he tried to kill me.
Yeah. Well, I think a lot of us have that experience of a partner who gets drunk and does things to us that are really fucked up. You know, I've had partners get drunk and rape me, you know, and that damage doesn't get undone. You know, that relationship is never the same after something like that, you know? And, you know, I don't think women don't do this. I don't think women don't get drunk and pick fights, you know, but I do think that there are gendered power dynamics around it that make it a very common experience, or at least a very commonly expressed one, you know? And I don't want to undersell like domestic violence of women against men. I know it is real. I know it happens. And I know that for men it is happening too. There's like virtually no respite. So let it be known, like if you are a man and this has happened to you, like I see you and it's valid, and like I'm not trying to erase you. And also I'm going to speak, you know, from the perspective of a person who is treated as a woman. And I mean, it's a constant thing, you know, when I come forward and say these things, like I get gaslit, or, you know, I was sexually harassed and the entire community that I was a part of just like imploded rather than hold this one person accountable. And there's still like a small like group of people on Left Book who will do everything in their power to ruin my reputation to protect this guy that sexually harassed me. And it's
like
thing.
There's this like thing that people think, oh, well, you're married to them or you're in a relationship, therefore rape is impossible. It's like, what?
Yeah, exactly. It's like, no, that's not how that works.
It's not like I'm signing a certificate. It's like I am now your property and I get to do like what? No, that was not part of the deal. That was not in the contract. Maybe I should have read the fine print. I don't know, but geez, it's ridiculous.
I'm in a few like Black marriage groups online because this is my first Black marriage. I know that sounds weird, but I was married twice before and they were both white. So I'm trying to come at this like with as much knowledge as I possibly can.
You learned your lesson, in other words?
No! Stop it, Andrea.
Things worse than white men. I'll wait.
No. But this is my first Black marriage. So there are some cultural differences that I don't know, which sounds crazy, but because of where I grew up in like super white suburbs, there are things that I just don't get, I don't understand. But I've seen some questions that have made me question, like guys saying, well, what if your wife doesn't want anal? Is it okay to make her?
No. I don't know. If your wife wants to peg you, is it okay for her to make you?
That question has been asked as well. And
the answer is no.
No.
Yeah, the answer is no. You don't get to use somebody else's body for your personal pleasure against their will. That's not how this works. Yeah. But taking it to sort of a lighter experience, if we can say as much, as you might guess, I am pretty tired of being sexually harassed by men. And so I've started doing a thing now where if men, harass me, I just sort of tell their wife or their sister.
Yes.
Or like, whichever person, right? So this is a particularly fun one because in this story, it actually ended with the wife flirting with me.
I love it.
And awesome. To date, I honestly regret not taking her up on it because that would have been the most alpha shit ever, right? Like you try to like sexually harass me and I fuck your wife about it. Mwah. Although I guess, hope springs eternal. It's not necessarily over. I probably still could. Mm-hmm. And so I'm just sort of running y'all through, this exchange we had, right? Out of nowhere, middle of the morning, 5:45 in the morning, he just sends me this message apropos of nothing, saying it's natural to look at a woman and want to have sex immediately. Like, let's just fuck. And I'm like, what? It is too early for this bullshit, right? And so, honestly, this part is like pretty common. I say, fuck you, pay me. And he doesn't want to, and he just keeps sexually harassing me. So finally, I just say flat out, this is sexual harassment. You have to know this is wrong, right? And nothing. It's like a freight train, like will not be stopped, does not care about what I want, right? And this is where it becomes like genuinely kind of threatening, right? Like I've had men like this around me in person. There is no version of this that is not incredibly triggering for me because when this has happened to me in the past, like I have been raped, right? And this is what makes that kind of sexual harassment, so inexcusable. And so it just keeps going on. And then I just said, to his sister, hey, you need to come get your brother. Oh, and I'm sorry, I confused this for one where I told his wife, but I'll show that one too. You need to come get your brother.
They're all the same. It's hard to distinguish.
It happens so often. There's so much common ground. It really is like that. And so then I just let him know, and you can like read this. Like he's not even good. Like it would be one thing if it was at least like kind of erotic, like maybe if it was an erotic message, I might be less like grossed out by it. And instead I'm just really annoyed.
No, because guys,
all the typos are making this really difficult to like get into. Let's dot.
Right. Well, and he's also using some like really creative spellings. Like at one point he spells pussy, P-U-S-C. And I'm like, I get how you got there, but it took some decoding.
I like the tight, perfect tits. What are tight tits?
Definitely not mine. I've breastfed a child. Like, and while I was lactating, sure, they were like very full and painful and hard as rocks. And I would call that tight, but like just existing, nah. So, but my favorite part for these is like the way men react after I let them know that I've told their family. I'm just like, hey, just so you know, have fun with this, right? And this guy, I mean, he immediately starts trying to like hide it, you know, say like, oh, like it wasn't me, I didn't do it, like whatever else, you know.
Somebody hacked me.
Yeah, and it's like, no, I don't believe you. And I don't believe this at all. Like, but I like that, you know, at the very end, of course, he has to call me a bitch, right? That, and this is why, like when I say, you know, men don't say bitch challenge, right? There's a reason, it's this. Because when men say bitch to me, it's always in a situation like this, where I've asserted a boundary, where I've said no, where I've said, you're going to be held accountable to this. And then I'm the bitch, right? And that's why, you know, I call this bitch brunch, right? Because this is what we're doing. That's what this is about. This is about talking openly and honestly about the way these dynamics affect us. And there's no way to do that without being called a bitch, because the only way to do that is to assert that these things are unacceptable and those men will never accept this. And I mean, you can just read our comment section on like YouTube, right? Or on Twitch. Like these people.
Especially mine.
Yeah. And these people, like they feel like, you know, it is their God-given right to just say whatever and do whatever they want to us specifically. And the way they react when we tell them no is incredibly hostile because frankly, their masculinity is threatened. And like I said in the beginning of the episode, they never developed coping skills. Nobody ever made them.
I've had people threaten to kill me because like they're like, delete your videos, you tranny queer. And it's like, no,
right.
I'm gonna kill you. And it's like, oh, okay, all right.
Are you now? Yeah, of
it's
course.
like, all right.
But yeah, I mean, and this is just a really common experience. It happens constantly. And you know, we just sort of learn to live with it, I guess.
Which is really sad that we're still having to live with it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
yeah, well,
I will say I'm grateful that things aren't the way that they used to be in the workplace. I mean, granted, I know there's workplace harassment. I've dealt with it in my last job and I'm suing about it. But it's not the blatant bullshit that I used to deal with when I was first starting to work at 16, 17, you know, in the early 90s.
Right.
Where, you know, your boss would just grab your ass and there was nothing you could do about it.
Right. Yeah, I mean,
so
what do you do?
We have come a little bit of a ways, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
I've told this story before, but I used to, before I moved to North Carolina, I used to love to like go on like jogs at like, you know, dusk at, you know, like nighttime-ish. Because I lived in a somewhat nice area, you know, like nice, you know, to the point where I'm not going to get stopped and harassed. And then I moved to North Carolina and literally like within 2 days, I'm like, all right, I'm going to go on my nightly exercise routine. I get multiple men like drive up to me and like offer me like hundreds of dollars for sex to get into their car. And I'm like, all right, I can never go outside again.
Right. Especially because those same men would probably kill you if they figured out you were trans. Like
exactly.
You have no way of knowing which ones will do which.
Like if I knew like maybe, you know, like, oh, I'll give you $100 to like, you know, whatever. It's like, maybe I'll consider it. But then it's like, oh wait, no, I can't do that. I'm trans. So we'll literally like shoot me in the face and then like throw me into the nearby river. It's like, okay, all right.
Right. And because you're trans, they won't do shit to help you, you know, or
exactly.
Just this.
I mean, I've said this story too. When I was sexually assaulted, police were called because I left the location and a random pedestrian helped me out and called the cops. The cops said it was all my fault because I was trans and therefore I'm a sexual deviant and I shouldn't have been in that situation. It's like,
oh,
what?
Jesus Christ.
What?
Yeah, that's the thing, right? It's like, oh, you're a sexual deviant. You brought it upon yourself. And it's like, what?
So we haven't talked about my rape story, but the police came, they took my sheets to get tested. I made him come to a comedy club because it was a comic and give me $250 cash to be tested for STDs because he did it without a condom. Made him tell everybody in the room why he was giving me $250. And yet the DA said that I had been drinking. It was black on black crime. So the case wasn't sexy enough to prosecute.
Literally wasn't sexy enough to prosecute.
Mm-hmm.
That is.
And I post that story on my Facebook page with a link to the guy's Facebook page every year. Every year. He's been a public official. We did run him out of town. He's in Vegas now.
God.
We did run him out of town. I post it with a link to his Facebook page every year. And he's never blocked me once because he knows that nobody gives a damn.
Yeah.
Like, and the people that position him in that power, like, probably do give a damn, but think it's cool and think it's awesome. You know, like, because that's the kind of dude bro culture we have.
Yeah, right.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and it speaks to the ways that men will, really close ranks against women, right? Like, God forbid ever, a man face consequences. And there is really there is no limit, to the lengths they will go for this, and I don't think we've actually gotten better in that capacity, right? I don't think as a culture we have improved all that much there.
We have maybe more safeguards, like legally speaking, but like the actual culture and society and the way people operate, relatively similar.
Well, again, me being the elder statesman here, I can honestly say things have gotten a bit better. Have they gotten perfect? Fuck no. Just same with racism. I mean, things have gotten a bit better.
Right.
But we got a whole long way to go.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and I mean, the reason I say things haven't gotten like enough better, right, is like, what about all the rhetoric about we don't want an old rapist in the White House, right? Clearly that fell apart.
Which old rapist are we talking about?
Exactly.
That's right? Like one of the things, like, and I understand that sentiment, but it's like every single president we've ever had is most definitely a rapist. Like,
yes.
like maybe not Barack Obama, maybe, but I mean, like, let's be honest here. Like, I don't know. Yeah. Like, so this whole idea of like, yeah, it would be nice to like, not have a rapist in the White House, but it's like, that's the norm. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, it's just not considered a deal breaker, right? And that's the thing. It's so long as it's not a deal breaker to be a rapist, we haven't really won. It's not over. Like, it has to be a deal breaker. So let's get on. Let's do another funny one, because we're going to try and break these up, because this gets heavy really quick, and we're going to try not to completely, depress everybody. This one, I'm going to blow it up a little bit so y'all can see it. Right here.
Does it start with "you ready"?
Yes. Anytime
like,
I get a message,
for impact. Like, yes. Let me get my seatbelt on.
Every single time I get a message like this from a man, I assume the worst. And like 98% of the time, they live down to my lowest expectations. But this one is my favorite because I straight up said this is going to be a sexual harassment message. Like, I called it to him. It did stop him, folks. My boobs are hard. I get that one a lot. My boobs are hard. And what he's talking about is before my current profile picture, which is of me looking super gothy for a joke that I did on an episode a couple weeks ago, I had a picture of myself in a shirt with no bra on that said "no bras, no masters." And you could see that I have nipples. And apparently the fact that my nipples were visible and therefore I suppose hard means that I am inviting male attention, right? That I would dare to possess nipples as a woman and not hide them away and make a point, right? A direct point, like "no bras, no masters," which of course anyone who knows anything about like anarchist philosophy knows comes from "no gods, no masters" as intended to, really highlight the power dynamics at play between like women's bodies and the world, right? And of course, people like this just blow through it. They feel nothing. They respect no boundaries and let me know that because my boobs are hard, I, of course, have asked for it. And that's a very common theme. The "you must have been asking for this" theme. And I think it ties back in, like you were saying earlier, these things are happening, and both of you were saying this, people in authority, people with control over our lives, people who, directly contribute to whether or not like we will ever see justice, telling us that it's our own faults, that we have done something wrong. It's the what was she wearing?
Where were you?
Mm-hmm.
What did you have on? What did you say? Did you know each other before? Have you ever dated before? These are all questions that I've been asked when things have happened to me. And it's like,
who were you with?
Any of that shit matter?
Were you alone? Did you try to defend yourself? Did you say no?
Did you say no? Did you say no repeatedly? Did you try to fight? None of that shit matters, people. Mm-mm. None of that shit matters.
Like, and
Well-
also, God forbid a woman takes like a saucy photo of herself to feel good. Oh no, someone like what? Like, men
Well,
are
come
allowed
on.
to do like the look at my mirror selfie, or like that really cringe where they're in the back of their truck or whatever, and they
Or
like
better
look
yet,
up, like
fish.
look. Ugh, I hate it. It's just it's annoying.
It's the fish pictures. I love that. Is like the fish picture. Like y'all, have y'all been on dating websites like in the last 10 years or so? Like there's just this whole genre of like profile picture on dating websites where it's just some dude, pretty much always a white guy, standing like this with a fish. Just like, I caught this fish.
Yeah, I know
and it's a
exactly.
fish guy.
Yep.
And I mean, they're going to be so fucking vindicated, to be clear, when society finishes collapsing and their ability to go fishing is actually meaningfully useful again. But like up until that point, they look ridiculous. Like,
But I don't know anything about fishing. I'm a vegetarian. Please go away. Like,
yes. Well, it's like, but I can provide food for you. Look at me. I'm so masculine. I will feed you. And I'm like, yeah, like that and $10 will get you like a full meal at fucking Chili's. It's fine.
Like, if you can maybe show me some botany skills, maybe I would be interested. But that fish ain't doing nothing.
Right. But I mean, you know, fishing is allowed, right? Like fishing is allowed, gardening isn't. Why?
Very, very interesting.
Right. Like, you know, why do we deny men access to nurturance? Right.
I think it's just because it's too hard. Like their brute strength would like
You
destroy.
can't kill it.
Like they're just gonna kill all the plants with their brute strength. You know.
I'm gonna kill the ground until a tomato comes out. Like
exactly. Just get the gun and shoot into the soil. Maybe like a seed. That's what we gotta do.
They actually released this. They have made shotgun shells with seeds in them that shoot seeds into the soil. This is real. The masculinization of gardening.
As if it were like my own idea, but of course that's the thing. Of course,
this is the
right?
thing.
All right.
No, yeah, this exists. But yeah, I mean,
Leslie's
I think that,
just like, what?
Yeah, can I be done now with the world? Because
I know, right? You know, I can't be certain, but I am pretty sure, even if it's only full of seeds, if you put it directly at the back of your throat so that it'll hit your brainstem on the way out, you probably could kill yourself with it, you know, and then you would be free. This is my solution to basically everything. It's like, I'll just end myself one of these days and it'll be fine. No, I say this is a joke about my own experience. I have struggled with suicidal ideation. It's serious. If you have trouble with that, feel free to DM me. I will add that in there as like sort of a caveat because I did make the joke and I do own that joke, but also I take it seriously.
I mean, I don't really have a problem with the fishing pictures other than, I mean, they let me know when guys show profile pictures of fishing or camping, I know they're not for me. Because no, I don't. Okay, it took my people, I don't know how many centuries to come like inside. I don't do anything that does not involve air conditioning and room service.
If you want to send me a picture of you on like your lazy boy with the remote in your hand, then we have more in common than if you're sending me a picture of you fishing.
Show me a picture of you eating nachos off your own chest while you watch anime. Like, I'll be way more interested.
Oh, I did have a guy that I was engaged to for a little while. I got engaged. Okay, so in between my first and second husband, I was single for 4 years. I got proposed to 11 times. I said yes 3. I only married one of them. Okay. The third one was somebody I went to high school with, and we hadn't seen each other in like 15 years. Okay. So when we found each other, he started sending me pictures of his job, his car, his house. And I said, are you trying to show me that you can provide for me and my kids? And he said, is it working? And I thought that was cute.
I mean, yeah, see, that's cute. It's a little obvious. It's a little hack. It's like, you know. But there's something charming to it. It's innocent. It's respectful. It's an invitation, you know? And I never mind an invitation. I'm never like offended by somebody saying like, hey, I think you're really beautiful and I would like to get to know you. That doesn't bother me, you know? Because that's like, you know, that's saying like, hey, I would invite you into getting to know me. I would invite you to talk to me. It's not as good as like reading anything I've ever written or like watching any of my shows and responding to like an idea that I expressed. You know, appealing to my intellect will always get me way faster than appealing to my, you know, physical attractiveness. Because frankly, a person who tells me I'm hot, I'm like, yes, but are you going to leave me in 10 years to upgrade to a newer model? You know? And that's like the sort of reaction I have there is like, if you're dependent on what I look like, I'm going to get old. I know that I'm beautiful and ageless and my skin is fabulous, but eventually I'm going to be 80, you know? it happens. There's
God
no
willing.
avoiding it. And I don't want to be with somebody whose affection for me is impermanent like that. You know, I want to be with somebody who really knows me as a person, responds to me as a person, and is, you know, in love with me, not just interested in fucking me.
Right. Well, like I always say, I lead with my worst foot.
Yeah.
Instead of doing the, you know, being on your best behavior, because that's way too fucking hard.
Mm-hmm. And it's fake. And
it's giving someone like a false sense of who they're going to be with. So I lead with all my crazy.
Yeah,
every bit of it. And I'm like, okay, if you're still into me, then when I'm like having a normal day, you will love me.
Yeah. But like, actually, yeah, like I think that's important. I think this weird idea that we have to trick people into being with us is really toxic, actually.
Yeah.
You know, real authentic connection is way more meaningful. And
that's kind of what happened with my last husband is he lied about all the things that he said that he was into to get me. And a year and a half into our marriage, he couldn't hold it anymore and then told me, okay, all the stuff that we talked about, he said, I flat out lied.
I mean, at least he eventually admit it. Like, it would have been nice if he did it before he married you.
Yeah, because then I spent the next 6 years trying to be married to someone who I didn't know, who I ultimately didn't really care for, who then, you know, I fell in love with the person he was despite his insanity. And then he lost his mind and left me.
Yeah.
So
it's hard, you know, and being with damaged men is really hard. And it's something I think we're sort of default expected to do, you know, like I've had so many men in my life who, you know, I dated who basically acted like, you know, their character flaws were immovable traits as opposed to, you know, things they were aware of and working on. Like, oh, like I'm just, you know, I just don't like talking about my feelings. And it's like, well, learn. Like, grow up.
I mean, if someone's like, oh yeah, I'm in therapy or something like that, that to me is a sign of you not being crazy, but you being in control to the point where like you're trying to work on your stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, but if people like, you know, men especially are just like, you know, like I could never do therapy. It's like, then I could never do you. It's like, okay.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's like, well, all right. Talk to me in 10 years after you've seen a shrink. Like, I'm not interested before then. And it's just, it's a respect thing, you know, like I don't feel respected when I am with somebody who expects me to do more than my fair share of emotional labor. When I'm with somebody who expects me to process their feelings for them and like be their like, you know, only pillar in the world. Like that doesn't feel respectful to me. That doesn't feel like I'm with an equal, right? I feel like I'm somebody's mom and like I'm up on a pedestal. And I don't want to do that. That's not like a dynamic I want to have for the power in my relationships. Like, no.
And you don't want to be everybody's therapist. It's like, okay, you know, I got my own shit.
Yeah.
You know, I'm slightly crazy. I'm trying to figure out my own shit. You figure out your own shit. We'll figure out our shit together. We can do that, but don't make me try to figure out my shit and your shit.
Yes, exactly. Like I can only be responsible for one of us.
Yeah.
And if you have a kid together, it's like, okay, and the kid. And then I have even less time for, you know, the other person or the other adult rather. Because like, yeah, like children will take up way more than one person's worth of work. Like children are like 3 people's worth of work.
I would like to quote Hillary Clinton, it takes a village. Thank you. Thank you.
Fabulous. We love it. It's fun. Slightly, very slightly, what's the word? Censored. And then in response to it, I will show you my fun and exciting response. Sorry, I should have given you all warning ahead of time that I was about to put that up. That was going to be a dick pic. My bad. I accosted you with one. I am no better than these people I purport to destroy.
It was censored. It was censored.
It was censored, yes.
There's not enough censors in the world.
No, excuse me. We saw pubic hair. I'm offended.
That's fair. You know what? And you have my sincerest apologies. So anyway, I responded to him. When I get these, I just respond with like weird hentai I find on the internet. Like I will find like the most random like video game character that somebody drew with just like a massive dick and send it back. Like, look at mine. And it's amazing. Like,
hentai. I'm just throwing that out there.
I mean, listen, my my incognito search history is just a series of progressively more desperate attempts at novelty. So I'm not here to judge anybody.
I don't even use incognito.
There it is. No shame, folks. I still feel shame about.
I'm sorry, I'm
my
shameless.
weird sexual proclivity.
If someone were to send me hentai instead of their own genitals, I would like them much
more. Be like more interested, right?
I would be much more interested. It's like then we have something in common.
Yeah. Well, and so another thing I do that I wanted to lead into with this is I get a lot of unsolicited video chat requests.
Oh my god, I hate those.
Constantly.
Sometimes I'll like answer and then like I'm like fully dressed, like, you know, in this kind of setup, you know, and it's like, hey, what's up?
Yeah.
And it's like seeing their reaction is hilarious because like they don't expect you to click answer, and so they don't know what they're gonna say. They're not planned at all, and
or
so
like
I just
they're
go
already
in.
Masturbating. Like I get that one too.
One time, like someone did this to me, and I started asking them about like their childhood, and it was just like trying to watch them stay hard while like they're trying to like actually have a conversation. It was just really fun for me. I don't know.
That's good. I usually hand it off to my partner John, who is very bearded and very masculine and very Polish, and he every single time I hand this to him, he strips his shirt off immediately. Like, you know, we'll just be in the living room or in the kitchen or whatever, and he'll just rip the shirt off and like answer it for me. And every single time he just answers with "Hi, beautiful." And I would say 80% of the time they just get this look of horror and hang up immediately.
That's so good. When you can see their faces, that's the best.
Yes.
Or so like where if they've got like the pointed at their dick, and then like you see like a big like like their laptop jumbles a bit, and then like it turns off. That's great too. So
that one doesn't do it for me.
I
think we're horrifying Leslie.
Just a little. Because I'm like,
yeah.
You know, I dealt with a little bit of what you're talking about, but like the whole. You guys are next level, and I guess because maybe I don't engage when I'm with somebody, like I don't engage at all.
Yeah.
I don't even know what hentai is. So
it's cartoon.
Oh, we'll teach you. We'll teach you next week. No, I'm just
okay,
baby.
But yeah, I don't get a whole lot of that, and maybe it's just because I'm old and nobody finds me attractive, and that's why they don't send me dick pics anymore. I don't know. I'm okay with that, though.
One,
don't send me dick pics because I said that.
Lifetime?
Yeah, one, you're hot. Two, it's not about whether you're hot, though. It's not a hotness thing. It's attention. It's a kind of attention. It's a kind of like assumed power.
Even if you're not hot, it's like they've already gone through all the hot chicks. You know, they've gotten rejected so many times. They're at the bottom of the barrel.
So see, that's what I'm saying.
No.
You haven't gotten to me yet because I'm now old and not hot anymore.
I don't know. I feel like there was like a period of
I've literally gotten that message. It's so good.
Literally, there was like I've gone through all the hot ones and now I'm stuck with you.
Yeah.
That's incredible. The fucking audacity.
That was my high school experience.
I think it's funny. I think it's great.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Wow. Well, so yeah, that's what it's like being a woman on the internet. If you are, I guess, you know, in certain terrible corners of the internet. I will say I get a lot of like friend requests from randos. Part of it is that I do have like an overtly sexualized presentation, right? Like I use the sexy, and actually like bitch brunch is the only day of the week that I don't put makeup on for the live stream. You know, and I don't get dressed because the whole point of this one is authenticity. And the rest of the time, fellas, I'm selling you something. This is not for you. The reason I look like this is because it's not for you. This is a for women episode. But the rest of the time, it's because I'm selling you something. Like, there you go.
For reference, if anyone would like to purchase activities or my time, I am willing. I will say I will be purely capitalistic. I will undercut Rachel. $90 an hour is too much for me. I'm willing to do anything.
No, but you got the niche thing. Like you're a whole ass Pornhub category. You should charge more.
That is true. That is true.
Charge more.
I've got to go full capitalism here. I've got to hit the bottom, you know?
Yeah,
that's what I got to do because, you know, who knows?
True.
You know, I got to make sure, you know, because, you know, minimum wage. If you pay someone $2 an hour for the minimum wage, you know, like, well, at least they're getting money because otherwise, if it's too high, they just won't have a job, right? So it's like, What are you gonna do?
So I want to ask you ladies something. Have you gotten this one? This was the thing that I used to get all the time. Where, and it was one version or the other of this, where I'd be like somewhere with a guy and it would just me and him talking alone, like sitting out by a pool or sitting in a car, just talking. And we're not messing around. We're not, there's no hint of that. And I turn to do something, like usually grab my cigarettes out of my purse. And when I sit back up and look at them, their dick is in their hand.
Oh my.
And they're either masturbating or I get this one. Look at me, look at it, and tell me what you think.
Yeah.
I can safely say I have not done that much social experiencing in public because I'm an introvert. And by this stories, I will never go outside again.
Yes. And so, of course, the last thing I'm going to do here, we're going to go through our own comments today. We don't usually do this, but we've got, 5 minutes left. And I'm going to go through the good ones.
We're doing comments?
You too. Second of all, I agree.
I also agree. No, I'm just kidding.
Third of all, give Andrea money.
That's a great comment. I am endorsing that comment.
We're giving extra time to this one for no reason. Honestly, my favorite comment of the day. I agree.
I disagree. I disagree. I disagree.
I
will not elucidate. I just disagree.
Yeah, that's valid. I actually want to respond to this one. This idea that we only attract bad men. That's not really fair. Because
I attract lots of good men. Thank you.
Exactly. Yeah. I attract lots of really awesome dudes, actually. And there are a lot of people that I don't talk shit about who hit on me because, like, they're great, but I'm not interested, And I have more than my free choice of men, right? What I am talking about is in spite of that, I get all of the attention from the quality men and downwards, right? To the like absolute trash beasts who see me as a piece of meat. And it just sort of goes up until that point, like to the point of highest level of, I don't know, romantic value, if you want to approach it in sort of that weirdly, deeply unhealthy sort of utilitarian capacity, right? But that doesn't change the reality that I'm still getting like way massively overwhelmed with just horrific interactions. Like, I understand why you might ask that question. I promise you, by volume, it is men.
Yeah, if we all have similar experiences, we're completely different. I mean, the three of us couldn't be any more different from each other. And we've all had the exact same experiences. Kind of says it's you guys, not us.
I would just like to say hashtag not all women, because I have gotten some women in my DMs. Now, thank you. I love everyone. But sometimes they feel a little entitled. It's like, oh, well, at least I'm not a man. And that is true. That is true. You got a point on them there. But not all the time am I interested in your antics.
Yeah.
That being said, try your luck. DM me anyway. Please be funny. Thank you.
Yeah. I think that's
Try to, if you want to talk to someone, try to be charming. I mean, what is wrong with being charming? I mean, am I just old because I say that? I mean, just try to be nice.
No, like truly, like I will talk to you, even if you're one of the dickheads who writes shitty comments. Like, I agree with you on this one. Actually, it's a topic we cover sometimes. You should go back into our like previous episodes, look at the episodes we've done about this topic, about the way that women and men are both negatively harmed by sexism. It's a really cool topic. We do talk about this. You should go check it out. And yeah, that's about what I got. Y'all have fun today? Do we have fun talking about interrelations?
I did not have fun. The show is canceled. No, I'm just kidding.
We're all canceled all of the time. We're perpetually canceled by somebody. It doesn't matter. And that's fine. I actually am sexually aroused by being canceled. So when it happens, it's like the best day.
I know. For me, it's like, oh wow, I've got attention, even though it's all
Mhm.
negative. Amazing.
Yes, yes. And the money tastes the same, folks. The
All
money we
views
get from your
matter.
views is the same. And frankly, none of y'all are people whose, approval I would seek. So it's fine. You can say whatever you want.
See,
And that includes in my messages. If you want to talk to me, I will respond to you. If you do something cringy or really, really sexually harassy, I will put you out there on the internet and tell everybody you did it. This is your warning. I will absolutely dox you.
Can we set this up? Can I get on an alt and expose you? No, I'm just kidding.
Oh my God. Maybe. And again, if you want to pay me, you can reach out to me. You can pay me to pay attention to you, even if your opinions are terrible. If you want
and
to
whatever Rachel's offer is, I will undercut it by 10%. No.
Yeah, of course. And again, if you actually want to catch my attention, the best way to do that is to show me that you are like me as a person, And unfortunately for most people, you can't really fake that. So
whenever people are trying to hit on me, I just ask them what they think about Mega Man X6 on the Sony PlayStation. And if they say, "What's that?" I'm sorry, it's over.
So this one right here, this is extremely toxic. This is not true. The friend zone is not real. What you are talking about is categorizing relationships into value or not based on whether you can fuck somebody, and that is dehumanizing, and that is ugly, and it is misogynistic, and that is also why you are not able to get laid. And the sooner you are able to wrap your mind around this idea, you will have way better luck with women just by treating us like people and respecting us and wanting to be our friend first.
I love all the people in the chat room that are acting like they're a 13-year-old, reading their parents' porno mag questions column. It's like, what the fuck?
Well, then it sounds like charming is an inauthentic
I want to talk
state.
to if you're charming, then you finish last. Excuse me, I just got remarried. My husband was charming. That's why I married him. That's why we hooked up the day after we met.
Charisma is real. It's a thing. And I admit it's hard. You can't really fake charisma. And
I want to say, you go first.
Well, if you are not naturally a charismatic person, you can be a really earnest person instead. I'm not only attracted to charisma, right? I'm mostly attracted to people who are really clever and smart and highly verbal and who will play the language game with me. If you really want to know the secret to my heart, it's understand that language is a game and be good at it. And frankly, most people are not like that, and that's fine. I don't think that people are less valuable, but that's what I personally am attracted to and attracted to.
Just because you're not attracted to somebody doesn't make that person a bad person.
Yeah,
and I've
exactly.
said this forever. Why I'm still friends with every guy I've ever dated except for my ex-husbands. And the only reason I'm not friends with my ex-husbands is because they won't talk to me.
Yeah.
As horrible as they were to me, there was something that made me attracted to them enough to date them and then marry them. And then with my first husband, stayed married for 20 years. With my second husband, stayed married for 7 years. So any person who gets through that barrier enough that you get to my heart and I've loved you, or I've been attracted, I've had emotions for you. Mm-hmm. I will always have emotions for you. That doesn't mean we're good together. That doesn't mean we should stay together. That doesn't mean when we break up, that doesn't mean you're a bad person. It just means we don't work well together in this capacity. That's it. Yes. And I don't, and guys are well, actually both sexes are bad at it, but I think guys are worse.
I just want to say that for me personally, as far as the friend zone is concerned, my dating interest pool is exclusively relegated to the friend zone. If you are not my friend, I will never date you.
This is true. Yeah.
It is a level up. You don't just go, you don't just skip a level. You're not a smart kid skipping 6th grade, buddy. That's not how it works.
Yeah, I would never date anybody I wouldn't be friends with. Full stop. And I want to say, I empathize with how this hurts. I understand unrequited love is painful. At the end of the day, if you just break up with somebody, break up a friendship with somebody because they don't reciprocate your feelings, all you are doing is putting the work of dealing with that on them, right? You are avoiding dealing with your feelings of rejection, and you are making them do the work for you by completely leaving them, right? And that's not fair. That's not a fair thing to do to somebody else, you know? And if you need help, like learning how to deal with these feelings, like unironically shoot me a message. I will talk to you about it and like try and give you some advice. Like sincerely reach out to me, send me a Twitter DM. I will genuinely try to help you through this and like help you with some coping strategies, or at least I'll send you like some workbooks that you can look at that can help like share coping strategies with you, because it is hard. Like it does hurt. It does suck. And it sucks a lot for men who are expected to be the pursuers to get rejected a bunch.
Which I will say this, that's one of the things that I've always tried to do is not make guys the pursuer. Most of the guys, my 3 husbands, I hit on them. No, I take that back. My second husband hit on me first. But my first 2, or my first one and this one, I flirted with them first because my first husband, we were friends. And I wasn't sure if he would be interested.
Right.
So I just asked. And I did the same with this one because he's 16 years younger than me. I had no idea if he'd be interested. Yeah, he was 35. Yeah. Yeah, he's now 37. I will be 53 tomorrow.
Yeah.
So
I mean, like 35 is the age where you can date somebody who's 57 and it's not like weird and toxic, right? Like if you were like going after like a 22-year-old, I would be like, but like 35 is totally reasonable.
Well, I did, but here's the thing. When I was single, all I got hit on was by like 20-somethings. And
I think that's a whole, God, we could spend an entire second episode unpacking that one.
Next week on
Next week, we will talk about fetishization of age, both young and old. It's great. We did it. We picked our topic. You are, of course, welcome back, Leslie. You're great all of the time.
Thank you.
We have a couple of exciting things that are going to be coming next week, in addition to what hopefully will be this second episode with the OG3 ladies version. And that is, we have an incredible panel coming up on Tuesday. Look for it. It's going to be really, really special. We might also be doing some other fun, exciting things later that day. So just keep your eyes on Tuesday. It's going to be really cool. We have all kinds of fun new programming coming up. We have Bitch Brunch happening. We're about to start launching a new podcast called Gay Space Communism, where we talk about Star Trek. We are also launching a podcast with Rara Imler, who is the awesome sex worker comedian. Leslie, of course you're invited. You're always invited.
No, I'm showing you I've got a Klingon tattoo.
Yeah, I saw it, and I was just letting you know you're invited. Okay. You didn't have to show the tattoo to be invited, but you are. We will talk about all of these things. Also, gosh, what else do we need to talk about? We have a new podcast with Rara Imler coming up about sex work. That's really cool. And we have Sentai Truther Club, which is our newest thing going on. That is Kennedy and Grav talking about Power Rangers and I don't know what else, but it's about Power Rangers and it's cool. And I'm going to be guesting on it soon. So definitely check it out. If you would like to give us money to continue to do these things and afford all of these like programs that we're putting together and also to eat or possibly even have health insurance, please go to our Patreon at patreon.com/notsafe and become a patron. We do extra special post-show shows for people. You can get in on that at the $1 level. That may not always be $1. So if you get in now, you will be grandfathered in. But if it is more expensive later, sorry, you missed your chance. Of course, these things will always be free. We have different levels. If you give us enough money, we will literally just like go spend like a bunch of months in a cabin in the woods, Big Brother style, and you will just be able to watch us like full time. I think that's like $10,000 or whatever. You get us the Grift Ranch and you can just watch us.
I'm willing to participate. If you want to watch me sleep, that's what you got to do.
Yes. And, all things are negotiable, right? We are hustling. We are selling ourselves, whether that is our intellectual property or our bodies or, visibility into our lives, whatever, it is that kind of market. And we are having a great time. Anybody want to,
I want to plug Rachel. Don't forget tonight.
Yes.
Tune in at 8:00 for Into the Abyss, which is normally me and Andrea, but today we're going to have a special guest of you, Rachel. Because
so if you like this, it's going to be the same people, but with better topics hosted by, no, I'm just kidding.
No, it is not better topics, but different topics. And you get to watch me give Rachel shit because she called me a white woman today.
Listen,
I didn't realize it was your book, and I just call things white women as a joke, and it was supposed to be a thread where we were doing dunks. It was a dunks thread. You just, man.
No,
You're a white
no.
woman.
We're gonna get into it at 8.
I'm sorry I misraced you.
It's okay.
Okay, bye. We'll see y'all next week. We'll see y'all on Monday. We'll see y'all next time. And until then, bye-bye.